Hey, how's it going? Just a quick video on flight routes. This is an initial answer to some of the suggestions made in my last video. I'm doing a deeper dive into the flight routes to test my theory from the previous video. That is, if you plot the great circle routes on the flat Earth map, it should match up. First, however, we need to work out the circumference of the flat Earth. Using Rowbotham's 5,000 K radius, the circumference can be rounded to a whole 30,000 kilometers. I'm not attempting to be spot-on accurate here. I'm assuming you all are aware of the flatearth.ws site that talks about flight routes. A word of warning, that site is extremely misleading, and I urge you all to do your own critical thinking and your own calculations. An example is they've made two giant errors in the flight routes they discuss. One is using the flight times and average aircraft speed. Can't do that. Too many variables like wind speed changes, jet streams, etc. Only use the distances. They are the known variable. The flight times must never be used. The second, even bigger mistake is to draw straight lines over the flat Earth azimuth projection map. Remember, this map is a projection map. It is distorted. We must stay within the rules of how this map calculates distances. It divides the circle into 24 quadrants, and each quadrant into 10 sectors. Each sector represents 500 kilometers to get the 5,000 K radius, and each quadrant will represent 1,250 kilometers, which is the 30,000 K circumference divided by the 24 quadrants. We cannot, under any circumstances, start drawing straight lines from city to city and measuring the straight lines with a piece of string. This is a distorted projection map where the outer sectors get bigger and bigger compared to the inner sectors. This means we can only really accurately measure flights when the flight routes coincide with the east or west latitude circles on the map. Because of this, it becomes a more complex calculation if travelling on an arc from corner to corner of each sector, and we'll see that in a second. Most attempts I've seen on the internet have drawn straight lines between cities on the flat projection map and then claimed the flat Earth is debunked because they think the projection map somehow lines up to a centimetre scale. It doesn't. Can't do that. Can't do that sort of measurement on a distorted projection map. I thought that was pretty obvious. If you don't believe me, just have a look at the distorted sizes of each country when you compare a flat projection map with the flat Earth map. Alright, let's first look at Sydney to Santiago as requested. We can count 9 quadrants from Sydney across to Santiago. 9 quadrants times by 1250 gives us 11,250 kilometres. Pretty close to the 11,349 kilometres listed. Next up, we have Sydney to Johannesburg, and again we get 9 quadrants, which is the 11,250 kilometres, which is also pretty close to the listed 11,034 kilometres. So, if we apply the flat Earth projection map correctly, as I predicted, the globe great circle routes will match up to the flat Earth model. Finally, let's take a look at Sydney to London. A bit more tricky because the flight route doesn't follow an east-west latitude circle. For this one, I've done an estimate. I don't think it's that accurate, but it's just a starting point. For this one, I've times each sector by 1.5 because it curves diagonally across the sector. We can't just keep it as 1. It's more than 1. How much more, I'm not quite sure yet, but 1.5 is my starting point. So I get 6 of them 6 sectors where it's diagonally curving across the sector, and then 4 normal sectors going straight across. That gives us 16,250, which is pretty close to the 17,016 kilometers. Obviously, calculating an arc going diagonally across each sector is difficult to work out accurately, so I don't take this calculation too literally. The point is, I haven't seen anyone address this issue of the sectors, and it needs further investigation. What I do know is that we can't just draw straight lines and claim any sort of accuracy. There may be a way to calculate following the flight route and work backwards from there to get a more accurate distance measure in that sector, and then applying that for the rest of the route. I'll have a look into that a bit more. Anyway, thanks for watching, and in case you don't know, my channel has always been and always will be a safe space for discussion, where negative comments from either side will not be tolerated. We should all show love, compassion, and understanding for our fellow human beings.